Once you've got active clients in your studio, your managed clients area will look a little different. You'll have some different controls and information available to you. So let's take a look at that right now. So this is the managed clients area. First, across the top, you're going to see how many seats you have used versus how many you have available. Below that are your actual active clients. We have 3 active clients currently. We can see a row for each. You can see their usage here. And we've got some settings that I'll get to in a moment. Before that, take a look at the shows area, because that's quite important as well, because once you have active clients, you can actually set up and manage their show settings for them. So we'll just pop in to take a look at this client. They have 3 shows, so that's 3 separate podcasts, and they would have access to these settings and invite links on their own dashboard. But as a studio owner, you can see those for them as well, because there are things that you can actually help them with, like make their onboarding process easier by setting up their podcast for them, getting their invite link to put into Calendly, or getting the producer link if you're going to join the session. All these things that you don't need the client to then do, you can actually do for them. So as I mentioned, this client here has 3 different shows. We're going to take a look at the settings of one here. So they get this exact same control in their own dashboard. It's their show name, so the actual podcast name, their artwork, the host name as well. This shows up in various places, like when they invite people to the show, the email has it. On the pre-join page to their recording studio. They also have the option to set up a notification here. Now, it's important to note, we're going to talk about notifications for the studio in a moment, because you have that integrated here, but they can still have someone else notified when they are done a recording automatically. So that would be an editor if they weren't working with a studio already. In this case, they probably won't need that, but let's say an assistant or someone doing social media, anyone else that would need to know when they're done a recording, they can put that email in here. But again, that is separate from the actual studio notification. So once you have that set up, you can save and close. And then we've got the invite links as well. So just like the client has access to, they'll have a guest link by default. That's a reusable guest link to invite people to join into their recording sessions. They can use that in Calendly or any scheduling software. So if you want to set that up for them, this would be where you get the link. And with the producer link, same idea. You create that, so once it's active, then you can use it. Once the actual producer link exists, you can reset it or remove it if you need to change it for some reason. But otherwise, as a studio, you can access those here to get things set up for your client and help make that whole onboarding process easier. So in this particular case, since they have 3 shows, they've got 3 separate settings, separate links, all that. It's all individual per show. For each client, you do have the ability to remove them here as well. And you can see our help documents for further details on what happens when you do remove a client. And then these controls, email on and webhook on, we're going to show you in a moment what those mean. But just note that they are up here on a per client basis, okay? So this current section here, we've covered in another video how to actually invite clients and set up your studio initially. So we're gonna just scroll past that right now. And I do wanna talk about the notifications and automations here for a moment. Those are covered in depth in other videos as well. But because you saw those individual controls on each client, that's why I wanna mention it here. So you have a couple of ways of notifying your studio, your team, about new client recordings. One of those ways is email. So if you have that on here, that's like the master control. So if you have it on, you can receive emails when clients are done recording. The setting we saw earlier where each client has a switch, that is a per client control. Let's say there's only certain clients you want to get emails for some reason, you can control that there, okay? So this is the email address you would have the notification sent to, because it might be different than your account email address. And also this switch here is for your own recordings, notifications about when you record an episode, because as a studio account owner, you do have your own show there as well, a personal show we call it, where you might have a podcast and you want to record there. So this determines whether or not you or your team gets notified about that podcast as well in the email notifications. Then dropping down here to the webhooks area, very similar. So same as what I mentioned a moment ago on the client's view up top, you have individual webhook switches for your clients as well. So you can have your webhook notifications on, but not every client necessarily has to send a notification to that webhook about a finished recording. So we cover setting up webhooks in another video. You can see just right here at the moment, I don't have my webhooks on at all. I have both of these, but they're shut off. But there are a couple of options here that are useful to know as well. The include transcription in automations determines whether or not transcriptions go out with your webhooks. When they fire and the episode files go out, do you want a transcript included with that or not? And we just put that here as a switch because not everyone wants transcriptions included. So if you don't need them, then the setting is off. We only will actually prepare and deliver those transcripts if you require them. So that's why that switch exists. And then again, like the email, we have a switch for your own recordings. So that just determines if your personal show, your studio's own show that you might record in your account, if that gets sent out through the webhook as well. Some people want it, some people don't. So that's like a switch here. You have one for each individual client, and for your own show, that same switch lives right here in this box.